Creatures such as we, home, heading. Restart, play, button, play. Home, back button, restore perch, zeros remain, next, button. They take the news better than you expected. Creatures such as we, link, close ad, button. Home, back button. Creatures, they take the news better than you expected. James looks contemplatively out into space. Sadri and Diana just stare at you, mouths agape. Grant nods and smiles meekly to mask his mounting panic. Ren, strangely enough, seems completely unaffected. Andres attempts to get control of the situation by blustering at you. Now hold on a minute. If there are meteors falling on us, isn't going outside the worst thing we can do? I think we should stay right here and wait it out. You can. The meteoroid warning has passed. It's actually much safer in the suit than the building. Radio button. It's the fastest way to get you home. Radio button. Now is not the time to argue. Radio. Next button. This prompts James into channeled action. Actually, now is exactly the time to argue. We can't just assume that what you're telling us is the best. You need someone to check your facts. Ren fixes you with an over the glasses stare. James gets upset sometimes, but I agree with him. For now, though, James, can you find any flaw in this path? If not, you slide back into your smiling, assertive stance, and solidify your authority. Great then, it's settled. We will make the walk over to Space Joy's moon base 12. Sadri speaks up. Yes, but what about the workers here? Do they not get to evacuate? As our guess, you're our first priority. Radio. They'll stay behind and wait for rescue. Radio button. Unchecked. Check. They'll stay behind and wait for repairs. Let's just focus on getting you out safely. Next button. This seems to satisfy Sadri, who mumbles out an, "Oh, okay. I can see that." You expected more of an argument, but then again, you suspect that she doesn't actually want to question her privilege too deeply. At least she had the presence to ask. You heard them with outstretched hands. Let's start making our way to the suit room. We'll have to take an auxiliary passageway, so please don't mind the mess. You look at Ren with her device. Oh, and please no pictures. They're all silent through the whole journey through the unpainted, metal service passages. It's not until they're being suited up that they start mumbling among themselves. The initial shock is wearing off, about to be replaced with another emotion. You need it to be trust. You turn to address the group. Matter-of-fact guidance, radio button, checked, 1 of 4. Encouraging relaxing guidance, regretful guidance, next button. You gather their attention. Space Joy has multiple facilities, intentionally close together. We will be walking over to another resort to use their shuttle to get you home as quickly as possible. We're on the dark side of the moon, so once we leave the perimeter, we will be relying on helmet lights. There's plenty of extra oxygen. Myself and several stewards will escort you. They have none. They just look at you, sedated. Do they trust you? Well, they're going along with you, at least. You just hope it holds. James attempts to cut through the gloom by making some crack about lawsuits. You ignore it. Lawsuits are probably a reality at this point, but best not to admit it. You give an icy, non-committal smile in reply, but luckily nobody else finds the joke amusing or interesting. You thank the stewards who have just finished suiting you up. James approaches you, eyes flitting about nervously. Hey, don't worry, I'll supervise you. Don't worry, we're all here. Radio button. Check. Don't worry, I know you can do it. Maybe you should stay behind? Next button. This seems to slightly reassure him. He smiles half-heartedly. Misery loves company, right? 5 minutes later and you're leading everyone into the airlock. It's like walking through molasses. There's no buzz of anticipation, no excitement for exploration. They're facing the real unknown this time, and it's terrifying. Dread fills the room as air is sucked out of it. You direct everyone to turn on their helmet lights, and as you pass the threshold of the field lights, you notice oxygen use spike, then level. They're probably thinking they'd prefer to be on the bright side of the moon, but verbally check in with everyone. Radio button. Checked. 1. Scroll through their oxygen levels. Scroll through their energy levels. Let things be. Radio button. Next button. Everyone sounds off, just their name. Nobody seems much in the mood to chat. Out of nowhere, Diana laughs raucously and posits, wouldn't it be nice if we could just die and respawn back on Earth? Grant sounds taken aback at this interjection. James laughs, joining it. I think you want a teleport button instead. Radio. Or how about just a portal? Why not just reroll? Radio. But isn't respawn just a clone? Why not just be? But we should really focus on conserving oxygen. Radio button. Check. Next button. You get a scattering of mumbles from the group. It makes the journey more stressful, but they don't drain oxygen as quickly from the inefficient sucking in and spitting out of words. You and everyone else continue bouncing along the plains at a constant rate. You're making good time. Then it appears at the forward edge of your light, a huge crater. Detail the new plan, going around it. Radio button, checked. Pretend like this was always here. Detail the new plan, go. Pretend, don't even try to scout the better route of. Next button. You turn around, and all the helmet lights focus on you. You ignore the glare. We're going to have to go around this crater, which will be a small extra delay, but it shouldn't take that long. And by the time we're around it we should be most of the way there. Stay away from the edges. Their oxygen use spikes. It's definitely training faster that you're comfortable with. You lead them around one of the sides. Diana's headlamp illuminates down into the crater. Can you even imagine? The slow death from falling into that crater, being unable to climb out. Sitting down and James seems unimpressed. You could totally just jump out. Sadri seems to shiver in her suit. I don't think I'd tell the truth. It's too steep to climb out of. Radio button. Check. Encourage them not to fall in. Radio button. Unchecked. Describe rescue procedures. Radio button. Lie. Tell them that you could jump out. Radio button. Next button. They certainly don't need you to tell them twice, and, happily, there's not really any change in oxygen use. You check on their resources. 1 hour, 55 minutes of oxygen left. That's. Ren fixates on the crater as well. It looks bottomless from up here. I mean, without. Andres' voice cracks over the comm. I won't lie, it's scaring the shit out of me. Like, what if something came out of it? Savory chases him. I think you've worked too much on zombie games. But then it happens. Your feet feel a small tremor of movement. Order everyone back. Radio button. Checked. Check. Look over the lip. Check for damage. Talk to James. Figure this out. Next. Button. They're all crowding around the edge, threatening to fall. Order everyone back. Dimmed. Look over the lip. Radio button. Checked. 2 of. Check for damage. Talk to James. Figure this out. Next. Button. You turn your beam wide, then concentrate. Diana speaks up for the silent group. Are you going to save him? Your order everyone back. Dimmed. Radio. Look over the lip. Dimmed. Radio. Check for damage. Radio. Talk to. Figure this out. Radio button. Unchecked. Next. Button. As you try to focus on what to do next, your brain insists on dwelling on how it went wrong. I should have given the crater a wider berth. Radio button. I should have been more explicit about avoiding the crater. Radio button. Check. I should have never agreed to an evacuation. Radio button. It wasn't my fault. Next. Button. Diana prods you out of your self-examination spiral. What are you going to do? Ask everyone else to continue ahead while you take care of this. Radio button. Checked. 1 of. Radio for equipment in case your rescue attempt fails. Radio button. Check. Just take care of this right now. Radio. Next. Button. You open the private channel between the stewards, asking one of them to go back for a ladder. He starts bounding away in obligation. You feel the surge of clarifying adrenaline as you address the group. Okay people, here's what's going to happen. You all are going to go with the rest of the stewards onto the moon base ahead. I will stay behind and rescue James. You take a deep breath. Will they trust you? Have you built up enough goodwill that they'll follow your directions? They oblige you. They trust you. It's a surprising relief. One less thing to worry about. James has been hyperventilating up into a tizzy of a panic. What if I die out here? A rock's going to tear open my suit when I climb up. Or I'm going to rip open your suit. He is probably right. Your brain insists you. At least express confidence in him. Radio button. Check. Remind him that you're there for him. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 4. Check. Ask him to focus. Radio button. Start reaching down for the rescue. Radio button. Unchecked. Next. Button. You pause before leaning down. Hey, listen, I'm here. I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to make sure that you're okay. I'll keep trying for as long as it takes. His breathing becomes more regular, at least, but on the other end of the line, you're only met with sniffles. You grit your teeth. I'm going to reach down, and you're going to grab onto my gloves first. You will then get a solid foothold, and reach up for my belt. Another foothold and then up to my leg. The climb out won't require much strength with his lessened gravity, but it will require some coordination. There's always the risk of him kicking you and breaking a bone or part of your suit. James reaches up for your gloves, then grabs on. But he doesn't move forward. He seems paralyzed, and you notice his breathing rate is actually way too low. He lessens his grip. Listen, what if I kill you? What if I care about you? Radio button. Checked. It's my job to protect you. Radio button. Unchecked. That risk is my call to make. Radio button. The risk to me is minimal. Radio button. Next. Button. James releases your gloves. Yeah, but see, what if it wasn't your job? What if it was my job to protect you? Because if I did die, I'd at least be happy knowing I was helping someone else. Radio button. Because I can't just leave you to die knowing that I could have done something. Radio button. Because I'd be fired and arrested if I didn't try. Because you need saving. Radio button. Because I'd be fired and because you need saving. Next. Button. James gives an exasperated sigh. See, that's what I'm talking about. You think I wouldn't face the same conundrum after killing you? Knowing. He frustrates. We humans are too stupidly designed. Your mouth dries in terror. James isn't going to come back up. Then they're going to find a recording of this conversation and the jury is going to convict you. But life is such an amazing experience. Radio button. Checked. What? There are people who want to see you stick around. Radio button. So stick it to death by staying alive another day. There are people who want to see you so you can tell me all about death after you get back up. Radio. Next. Button. James breathes out a slow stream of air. Well, that is true. There are people who would be sad. He reaches out and pulls on your gloves. Thanks for helping me with that. Sometimes, I'm just not sure what's what. He climbs up and over your back. You hold your breath, waiting for a ripping noise, a system failure alarm, something, but nothing happens. And then, it's over. You're both fine. The whole experience, I thought you were lost. Radio button. I'm glad you're safe. Radio. Check. Nobody dies on my watch. Radio button. Well, let's get on with it. Radio button. Next. Button. James only flatly responds, yeah sure. He retreats within his own mind. You give him space enough to think. You radio the stewards to put a nix on the ladder. They acknowledge. You've got 35 minutes of oxygen left. That's enough to make it. It's several minutes before James breaks the silence. I actually hate the thought of death, you know. I wish I didn't have to worry about death either. Radio button. You just have to remind yourself of the positives. Radio. You just have to focus on life. Radio. I'm alright with just living this life. Next. Button. James stays silent for several meters. Yeah, I mean, it's not fair. It's straight up terrible, and I hate it. He crackles the calm with a sigh. I almost wish we didn't know about it. Like, that we were completely ignorant about death. That sounds nice. Radio button. I'd rather just be immortal. Radio. I just focus on how lucky I am to be alive. Radio. Death might be scary, but there's nothing wrong with accepting it. Next. Button. You notice James stop and tilt his helmet light up towards the sky, the naked, infinite universe. You make the rest of the journey in silence, separated by bulky spacesuits and the vacuum of the moon, but it's the closest you've ever felt to another human being. Next. Button. You make it to Moonbase 12 airlock with 10 minutes left. It opens and admits you immediately. While the water jets start washing off the moon dust, James turns around to you. Hey, so is there any chance for us to see each other after this, at all? I'm sorry, I'll be returned to my base probably within the day. Radio button. Checked. I'm sorry, I don't even have good internet up here. I'm sorry, I'm assigned here for the next few years. I'm sorry, it wouldn't be professional. We might have a few hours, but that would be it. Radio. Next. Button. He turns back around. Yeah, I thought it would be something like that. The interior doors open, revealing a bunch of pissed-off-looking staff. They probably don't appreciate having to clean up your mess. "I'll miss you," he adds, "but you're already set upon by the locals, who don't even give you a chance to respond." Unfamiliar steward starts undoing your suit as a gruff, older woman, another director of activities with reddish hair, immediately accosts you, Asher. "We're glad that you supervised the successful evacuation, but we're under orders to ship you back as an ex-employee." "What?" Radio button, checked. Why? Radio, how could they do this? Radio, well, I figured this was coming. How could they do this? Check, well, next, button. She nods, yeah, well, ignoring the meteoroid warning has its consequences. You stammer, blush red. That was Marcel's order, you weren't even ever notified of the meteoroid storm. Your mind whirls into understanding. You're being thrown under the bus. That's scum. Before you can even respond, James raises his voice from across the room. No, Redhead raises you a skeptical, no, it's not at all. Radio button. No, it was Marcel. Radio button, yes, I'm sorry I didn't report it properly. Radio button, yes, I'm sorry it went badly. Next, button. She shrugs, I really don't care about it, but I'm not going to argue against a client's self-incriminating story. Stay here, we'll sort it out. James insists more forcefully, and I'll still report Space Joy to the travel authorities if you don't get me on the shuttle back, right now. He adds a theatrical foot stomp to accent the accusation. Redhead looks at you with understanding exhaustion, then back at James, who smiles smugly. Wait, what's going to happen to James? Radio, wait, can I say goodbye to James? Radio button, wait, shouldn't I stick around? Fine, I'll go back. Radio button, unchecked. Check, next, button. Redhead waves at the stewards, finally. Hurry up and bounce on back to your own base and get out of our hair. The local stewards reverse from undressing you to suiting you back up. She grabs James by the arm and leads his out of the room. James has time to give you a quick wave before leaving. Well, as they latch on a fresh oxygen tank, you contemplate what you did wrong, how it all went so badly. I wasn't perceptive enough. I shouldn't have gotten close to James. Radio button, I didn't say the right things. I can't beat myself up over it, it wasn't. Next, button. He wouldn't have sacrificed himself if you hadn't gotten to know him. The local stewards finish suiting you up. You screw on the helmet and make the long trip back in silence. The whole way back you contemplate on your massive failure. Back at base, button. As soon as you get in, your walkie-talkie registers a message from Marcel. Sorry about the confusion, Asher. Anyway, everyone has approximately 1-2 weeks of in-facility PTO while we manage repairs, so enjoy your time off. PSHH. Figures. Would starting a mutiny damage your resume too much? Oh, well. Space Joy Corporate will sort her out. You can explain everything in your report. Before you know it, the other stewards have removed and packed away most of your suit. You cram your helmet back into its case and slam the lid shut. This whole thing has been one big ball of stress, and you deserve something to defuse the game. As soon as you get in, your walkie-talkie register, you burn through levels in a furious haze, the rescue of Laura's son, the infiltration of the Zoroverse experimental facility, the decoy staging attack that leads you away from your base. Your competence, your mastery melts the anxiety away, and within the evening you're at the last level again. There's a distress call from your old base. Screams, shouts of betrayal. Your avatar looks appropriately shocked, then determined. Elegy floats in front of you, we've got to hurry back. First, confess feelings for Elegy, radio button, check, regretfully send Elegy away, angrily send Elegy away, go through the level, next, button. Your avatar's body shoves itself out of Elegy's protective aura. Listen, I've been putting up with you for a long time, but here, I can't stand it anymore. I need you to go away. You avatar turns her back to Elegy. I don't care what you do, where you go, but just do it somewhere else. Elegy jerks backwards suddenly. Wait, what? I thought, are you still here? Radio button, I insist that you leave. Radio button. I'm sorry, but you need to sit this one out. Fine, you can come along. Next, button. Elegy darkens purple. I understand. I'll leave you. But I really thought we had something. And I'm sorry you want to throw it all away. He floats up and away, becoming nothing more than a speck in the distance. Your avatar, you slog through the level. The set design is short, but it takes much longer without Elegy's ghost power assistance. Your aim is worse, your speed is slower, and you don't have access to any spells except your natural regeneration. And there's the fact that you feel like a complete ass throughout the whole level. It barely even registers as enjoyable when you execute a technically flawless combo that wipes out the last group of elite guards. You pause before the final boss room. This had better work. This had better be worth it. You take a Dolores adjusts her necklace as she notes your entrance. I don't need a ghost to take you out. Radio button, checked, 1 of 4. Elegy's safe, where you'll never hurt him. Did I know what? Radio, just attack. Next, button, just attack. Just attack. Next, button. Laura sighs and presses a button releasing 2 giant Zoroverse guards from behind her. They leap down. You fight them off, using a combination of different attacks and escapes. They deftly avoid. Just when you're ready to call it a skill check failure and restart to the last autosave, Elegy emerges from a side wall. I know you sent me away. I know you were trying to protect me, but I can't let you face this by yourself. What? Radio button. No. Radio button. Stop, please. Radio button. Unchecked. Alright, let's do this. Radio button. Next, button. Elegy ignores your protests. The ghost slams into your body, triggering a bright flash of light and the re-emergence of the ghost power HUD. Fight the Zel Urobraz. Radio button. Attack the equipment in the room. Radio button. Attack Lores. Radio button. Talk down Lores. Next, button. You don't even make it within range of being able to climb the pipes up to Lores before the Zoroverse reach you. You do your best to dance around them, but they do not let up. So you are forced to engage them. You kite the Zoroverse around, stabbing them, hurling flaming energy at them, shooting them in the face. You're on your best game, the music is pumping you on, Elegy is cheering for you, it's just these 2 final enemies and then you win. You inch their health down, 90%, 70%, 50%. But one small slip in the pattern, and they're back to full. In frustration, your fingers falter. Your avatar strays too close to the Zoroverse. And in that small instant, that small window of failure, they get you. They win. It's your best, and it's still not good enough. You push back the keyboard in defeat. You hear Elegy in surround sound. Wait, I remember this. Then Elegy floats out of your body, towards Lores. I'll do it again. Her eyes widen in fear. No, no, not again, not you, I'll miss you. Radio button, don't do this. Radio, you shouldn't have betrayed us. Fuck you, ghost. Radio button. Check, next, button. Your avatar shouts it out, asshole. Your character takes a breath and continues, I remember now. This all happened before. You, that portal. It said, wait, what? Your character continues, you're sending me back to an infinite loop, you fucking idiot. Whoa, the game tracks replays as part of the story? But it's too late. Elegy turns momentarily solid, and mouths to you. Next time. Before collapsing into the black hole-looking energy sphere. A time vortex? Once again, the screen goes dark, but this time when you regain sight, you notice that your hands are human. The dissipating black hole reveals a medical waiting room, the first level of the game. You were too frustrated to pay attention to the details the first time, or maybe they were deliberately obscured. Replay, sending Elegy away more firmly. Radio button, checked. One of. Check. Replay, focusing on improving. Replay, focusing. Give up. It's not winnable. Check. Next, button. They never intended for you to win. They just wanted you to get wrapped up in the hopelessness of it all, to tell the story of the never-ending time loop. It's a bad ending. It'll always be a bad ending. It's why they were so cagey discussing it, why they're so focused on the importance of having a game with a message. They were perfectly satisfied to punch you in the. You power down and take the time off to take care of other self-maintenance errands. You get your dose of artificial sun. You work out to keep your muscles from atrophying, you trim your hair. You even get bored enough to help with the repair tasks. There are reports, debriefings with higher space joy representatives. They seem keenly interested in the meteoroid mishap. How exactly did it happen? Implicate Marcel. Radio button. Reiterate the panicked guest story. Insist that it was your fault. Radio button. Plead ignorance. Radio button. Next. Button. They thank you for admitting the truth, but ask that you not be so hard on yourself. They assure you that with the given evidence of the time, it was a rational decision to make. They thank you for your time. Nearly a week later, you finally have internet access. It's a bit moot at this point, but you're curious about that. Creatures. Ending. Is your. Look up the ending to Creatures. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 3. Creatures. Period. Check your mail. Radio. See if anything happened with the acquisition. Radio button. Next. Button. The internet confirms it. There's no way to get a good ending. Your character just goes deeper and deeper into depression about being stuck in the loop, being unable to find a solution. Fans are pretty furious about it, actually. A few places, here are there, are scattered theories. Look up the ending to Creatures. Dimmed. Radio. Creatures. Period. Check your mail. Radio. Check. See if anything happened. Next. Button. You've got a message from James. You open it immediately. Hey Asher. I bet you didn't think you'd get to hear from me again, but I had the presence of mind to ask for your contact info before they shipped us off. I wanted to thank you for everything. Not sure if you've heard, but Collected is joining up with Synthplay. They're letting me start up my own usability research initiative. I'm psyched for it. I guess I'll miss the old structure, but you can never stand still, right? Anyway, I don't want to get bogged down in all that. I'm sure you've figured out by now that there's no good ending to Creatures. I told them it would be unpopular, but you know, whatever. Anyway, I wanted to let you into our alpha fix of that scene. I think you'll appreciate its elegance. It'll be widely released. Anyway, do keep in touch. Email's obviously not the same as seeing each other in person, but, you know, I'd still enjoy chatting with you. And do you play games online? We could do something co-op, maybe something turn-based, if your internet is limited. James. There's an attachment and patching instructions. Install. Radio button. Checked. 1. That. Radio button. Unchecked. 2. Patch. Radio button. Unchecked. Now. Radio button. Next. Button. Your heart races. You hardly dare to hope. A way to save Elegy? Booting up. Creatures such as we. Reveals a new menu option. Escape the time loop, which takes you to a screen with a blinking cursor in an input box and a single paragraph at the top of the screen. You stare into the black abyss, the time vortex that's about to send you back again. Your mind fixates on how this is ending up for you, badly. It's a bad ending. But if you concentrate hard enough, you can change it next time. Make it into a different kind of ending. What kind of ending should it be? Text field. Double tap to edit. Next button. Next button. Text. Reveals. You stare into the text field. Double tap. Insertion point at end. Space. Cap C. Cap B. Cap B. F. D. S. A. S. D. D. You stare into the reveals a new menu op. Creatures such as you stare bad text. Next button. Your avatar is back at the final level, back where the shielded Lores is. She's reaching for the remote, about to freeze Elegy. Attack Lores. Radio button. Attack the equipment. Radio button. Unchecked. 2. Check. Attack the Zal Urobraz. Focus on saving Elegy. Radio button. Attack the Zal Urobraz. Focus. Next button. You time their swings and try maneuver between the two Zorobras, but they recapture you almost instantly. Lores stares at you incredulously. Do you know what that ghost keeps doing to us? I can't let this go on. I can't let your kind end the You notice that her audio doesn't sound quite right. Your avatar gasps and staggers with flashbacks of remembrance from all the alternate reality. Sorry. And then fades away into nothingness. Your avatar screams, no. Send me back again. I can get it. Next time I can get it. Okay, it's bringing you a little out of the moment, but you're certain by now that these lines are digitally created. And then nothing happens. No black alert. Low battery. 10% low power mode. Close button. And then nothing happens. Lores turns. The heart of your character's new existence. The game fades to black. Re-choose. Radio button. Checked. I'm okay with how things are. Radio button. Next button. The game fades away into an editor mode, where you see all the lines paired up with some basic camera and action directions. But it's all open to your edits. You can retype the ending, make them say whatever you want them to say. That's their plan. That's their project, full player control over the game. The ability to make your own endings, write your own stories, using their characters. To have them voiced, with proper cutscenes. But then again, if you use this tool, is it still the same story? Is it a real ending? A chat window pops up from James. What did you think? It's really cool. Radio button, checked. I thought it was weird. Ignore the window, radio button, next, button. James replies, glad you like it. It's just a tech demo, but simply, I enjoyed it, and it felt like a real ending. I enjoyed it, but it didn't feel like the real ending. Radio, I didn't enjoy it, I enjoyed it, and it checked. Next, button. James immediately fills in, DEA. I'm really looking forward to its launch. An invitation pops up for a multiplayer game of creatures. As he writes in, I'd love to. It'd be fun to. No, thanks. Radio button. I'd really rather not. Next, button. You close the chat window, and that chapter in your life. It's time to move on, move forward. Keep yourself focused on who you are and where you're going. You breathe in, breathe out. You enjoy your time. You do the things you love, that make you happy, on your own time. And that's what makes the vastness bearable. Next chapter, button. That was Creatures Such as We, by Linnea Glasser. That was beautiful. Thank you. Radio button, checked. Next button. Oh, thank you. I'm so tickled hearing that. It's always nice to have your work appreciated. I wonder, though, just between us, is there anything you'd want to change about the game? Maybe I'll just look and see what changes. No. I think I'll stick with the ending I got. Next button. It's refreshing, actually, that you're willing to accept the ending as it was. I personally think that it's okay for some things to stay unresolved, that it's okay for some things to come out a bit messy, to think about how things could have gone better, while accepting things as they are, and I'm glad that you agree. Thank you for understanding. Thank you. End button. We hope you've enjoyed playing. Creature on a scale from 1 to 10, most likely, rate 9, 8, 7, radio button. 6, 5, rate 4, 3, 2, 1, no response, rate next button. Text field. My email address is radio button, checked, 1. 11:21 p.m. Control center. Airplane mode, flashlight, low power, flash selected, screen recording.